I'm Nididat in Indonesia, where orangutan conservationists are climbing to new heights.
And I'm Russell Beard in Flanders, Belgium, to meet the urban miners turning rubbish into raw materials.
Amazing thing for me to see the life of orangutan. You know, I can see everything from the eyes.
What was the very first time you ever saw one?
I think female and come down and come to me for a reason, I think, and I could feel, you know, the life, all the mystery of life of orangutan is actually there. Have an eye contact with the orangutan. It's amazing to have that experience, you know.
The orangutan is the only great ape found outside Africa, but the species native to Sumatra is now critically endangered because the forests it lives in are being logged and cleared for industries like palm oil. I'm Nididat in Indonesia, where a unique collaboration is taking the conservation of the Sumatran orangutan to new heights. In the last 12 years, Indonesia has lost over 6 million hectares of its primary forest and the orangutan's natural habitat to agribusiness such as palm oil. From chocolate to cosmetics, biodiesel to oven chips, the demand for palm oil means business is booming and many plantations are illegally expanding into national parks.
This is illegal palm oil trees for sure, and we cannot tolerate any illegal palm oil trees inside our national park.
This is basically what palm oil plantations look like.
This is old one, and so they encroach to the national park forest. So it's like more than 20 years. They start encroaching here.
So they had a legal part, and they moved beyond the legal part.
Yeah.
Into primary forest.
Into national park forest.
Into national park.
Yeah.
What you've done is you've brought the line back.
No, reclaim.
This is you've reclaimed the land. Can we have a look?
Yeah, sure. This is our goal for achieving such a good forest structure like this when we do our restoration activities. 4,000 plant species live in this closed ecosystem. It's a home to a complex biodiversity.
PANUT has been running a huge clearing and replanting project since 2008. After PANUT and his team have cut down the palm trees and reclaimed the national forest boundaries, the reforestation process starts, with clearing long grasses that block sunlight from reaching tree seedlings. It's the gym Sumatran style is what it is.
Okay, so actually we can start doing planting.
Seedlings grown in the nursery are then planted in rows extending from the forest perimeter. There are no shortcuts here, just lots of hard work.
Last year we planted 165,000 seedlings. We have to compete with the grass. We have to regularly clear the weeds again, and then up. Once the tree actually grow, high, then we don't need to do weeding.
Despite the competition and poor quality soil, 80% of the trees survive the vital first 3 years.
Trees now grow very well in this line.
You actually look really excited.
Yeah,
when you're
I'm very happy
these
to see the trees grow so well like this. And it's like, as I said all the time, brings you hope, you know. And this is first tree that we planted, 2008. This site was dominated by grass. See, no grass, yeah? No grass, right?
It's gone.
It's gone. Even new seedlings start to grow, and then feel the temperature here, much different.
And the ultimate proof that all of their efforts are paying off, evidence of new arrivals in the forest.
Ada. There's an old orangutan nest. over there.
Old, new?
This is an old nest too. Yeah, it's like mother and baby. The lowest one actually is the baby still trying, still learning how to make a nest. You know, still a mess,
There's
but
still some holes.
we'll get there. This place is a new hope for them. They can make this place as a home for them. You know.
And how old are these?
I think it's like 2 weeks ago, and then the other nest is like 2 days ago. So very recently they are still, you know, wandering around in this place.
While PANUT works hard to restore lost habitat, another key part of conservation in the area is done by the Sumatran Orangutan Conservation Program, or SOCP.
Every single orangutan here is a refugee from forests that no longer exist. Our goal right now is to try and make sure that when Indonesia is able to protect its forests, we still have orangutans living there. This is the isolation cages, so this is where all new arrivals or any orangutans under medical treatment stay here. But at the back we've got these big social cages where, for many, this is the first time they've met another orangutan and had contact since their mother was killed, when they were captured. When a company goes in and they completely destroy the forest and everything that was living there before dies, and in a few cases, you know, there may be a few trees left and a mother orangutan up there with a baby, so they'll chop that tree down, club her to death, and take the baby home. And that's how orangutans end up in people's houses as these illegal pets. As a former zookeeper, I know just how strong and powerful these animals are, and to imagine capturing one, the level of violence you would need to use is just unimaginable. You know, I remember one, her entire body was like swollen, like she'd just done 50 rounds with Mike Tyson. And she had cuts, machete cuts, open wounds right to the bone, and puncture wounds from sharpened bamboo sticks, probably being stabbed like spears. 99.9% of the orangutans that lived in these forests are dead. These are the 0.1% that somehow managed to survive that process.
Some orangutans arrive at SOCP in poor physical condition. The first part of their rehabilitation is often surgery or intensive medical care. If you see their face just sort of right here up against yours, it's really quite something.
All of the equipment here and all the drugs here are exactly the same as you use for human patients.
Because they're that close.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, we hire vets, but I'd rather have medical doctors because orangutans are much closer to humans than they are to cats and dogs.
What's this teenager's story?
During capture, he'd obviously sustained damage to his arm and the nerves didn't function anymore. We did lots of tests and we also gave him like 2 years here to see if the arm would come back.
So it was useless?
It was useless. If we took it off at the arm, he still uses this top part. And that, you know, he would still have a chance at living in the forest, so we did that. Yeah. That's almost healed. This is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Every orangutan that we bring in gets their own tattoo. 277 we're on now.
Once given the all clear, Simayan, like the others, will be released back into the wild. And who are these guys?
Gokong and Down. Gokong's about 1.5 years. When he's about 5 years old, we'll start him on that release process.
So that's a long way still. Oh! I think he's about to bomb dive onto the camera.
He was captured. His mother was clubbed to death, beaten to death with clubs.
This was after the clearing?
Yeah, yeah.
And what's gone in now to that area?
That's palm oil, yeah. The one thing that nobody has really done is law enforcement, putting people in prison for breaking the law. And until we do that, I don't really see a lot of change. Until your average Indonesian sees that there is a real risk of prosecution and going to prison, the numbers of orangutans coming into captivity is not going to go down. It may even continue going up.
The looser ecosystem, home to the Sumatran orangutan, is 1/10 the size of Britain. In an area this large, monitoring the expansion of palm oil plantations has been virtually impossible. Until now.
We have the autopilot, we have the GPS receiver.
I've got the camera up the front.
The camera, the motor.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, it's very simple and effective. Okay.
This may look like boys playing with toys, but in fact it's a unique collaboration of conservation NGOs surveying illegal clearing of protected forests for the first time.
You basically fly backwards and forwards in a grid, and then you stitch all the photos together and you get a beautiful view of the forest, high resolution, almost seeing every leaf.
Very cool. Graham, a colleague of Ian Singleton's from SOCP. David, a colleague of PANUT's from Orangutan Information Centre. And drone specialist KEEYEN are test flying a new plane. But the star is KEEYEN's teenage son, who is teaching them how to fly it.
I'm going where?
He's having too much fun.
Is that the word for it?
Just one wrong move.
The last minute.
Come.
So that is the route, and it's heading off to waypoint 1 here now. So it's going to follow this yellow line.
The national park border is around here. So we want to make sure that they're not encroaching and accidentally coming across the border. If they are breaking the rules, we want to catch them early and get them out. So,
yeah.
And as we're not allowed to inspect ourselves on the ground, well, we can send the drone over.
I do a lot of mapping work and use a lot of satellite imagery. This can provide much, much higher resolution images and almost real time. This basically is oil palm here, the darker green over here.
It's a huge chunk, isn't it? Is just palm oil.
In the past, it's been out of sight, out of mind. How can I enforce stuff if I don't know what's going on? When you've got this sort of aerial footage, you can make much more powerful arguments. Like, yeah, okay, you're maybe right. Maybe we should do something. Indonesia already has a very impressive array of environmental and conservation legislations. All we're asking for is enforcement of those laws. In 2011, the previous governor gave out a new license for one of the last remaining patches of forest that did not have a license on it. One of those, Tripper, was handed out for conversion to oil palm. A coalition of local NGOs basically challenged that license and ended up winning. Now, while that court case was ongoing, one of the major companies had a major land clearing and burning program. We had overflights and we exposed it. The Indonesian government has actually followed up and taken action. The court ordered the company to pay over $30 million in compensation, which is a massive first. It's absolutely vital to set legal precedents. I think the visual impact of these aerial shots are very powerful.
Has this kind of technology come too late?
No, there is still actually an awful lot worth fighting for in Sumatra. We still have rhinos, we still have tigers, we still have elephants, we still have the Sumatran orangutan, which only occurs in Sumatra. And there is still enough wild populations worth fighting for.
It's not done just yet.
No, not by a long, not while I'm still living.
Just there hanging with the baby
And
also.
she's got a baby too?
Yeah. I can stay here like forever to just watch the interactions between the mother and the baby.
The hands?
Yeah.
The face?
The way they think.
Like their behavior? up close, they're like humans. Are you excited that one day there'll be more of them in your new forest?
Oh yeah, definitely. And they will, you know, give us so many hopes, I think. But it's not enough. The work, there are more works to be done.
Mining for precious metals is a messy business. It's not only hugely expensive, but it comes at a high environmental cost, resulting in the contamination of land and water and the loss of biodiversity. But these metals are key components in modern technology, and as our desire for electronics and electrical equipment soars, our throwaway culture is seeing more and more of these valuable, finite resources being lost to landfill. I'm Russell Beard, and I've come to Flanders in Belgium to meet a network of recycling organisations dedicated to recovering these precious metals before they're wasted in a process known as urban mining.
It's estimated that worldwide only 13% of the electronic and electrical waste that's generated each year is recycled. RECUPEL is an organisation that arranges this network of recyclers as part of a nationwide scheme.
It looks like the contents of someone's flat that you've just jammed into a box there, isn't it?
Yes, but it's a big volume, of course. Annually we collect approximately 115,000 tons of e-waste every year. So the focus is more on urban mining nowadays in the recycling industry. So a producer, a manufacturer, a retailer has the obligation to take back the old appliance when he sells a new one.
I mean, you're talking about recycling the metals, but I guess you're also recycling all the energy and the manpower that it took to get that stuff out of the ground in the first place.
Yes. So it's a lot more cost efficient to actually go and focus on urban mining than the actual mining itself.
This is kind of like a modern day ore, isn't it?
Yes.
The waste from these collection points is delivered to specialist transfer stations for the initial sorting and depolluting.
Oh. I haven't quite got the hang of this. So we're off to the transfer station. Buckle up. Now this is another stage in the recycling story. We're looking for Vanessa. Got to put these on because this is where they're going to start discombobulating it all. It's an army of people you got here, eh?
Yes, per person you see here, they handle about 3 boxes a day. So
each person?
Yes.
Wow. And that's a lot of stuff that would have been hitting landfill.
The first job in the plant is to separate the different materials and extract anything toxic.
For anyone that ever got told off as a child for breaking things in the house, this would just be like a dream job. Special Kevlar gloves. Okay, get some clips. It's an important part of this process is getting rid of these tables. This is the depolluting part, so these all get processed separately. We chuck those into that, and the rest of it goes on the conveyor belt. This is fun, man. I got carried away there. Sneaky little cable got on there. Yes. I think part of the trick is trying to make as much noise as possible. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Plastic? Laptop?
Laptop.
Laptop. In here? Batteries in there, okay.
Once separated, the metals are ready to be recycled. However, the circuit boards, which are found in the most common home electronics, are treated differently because they contain a number of precious metals, such as gold, silver and palladium. Removing these metals in an environmentally friendly way is a difficult yet potentially lucrative business.
This is the mother load of motherboards right here. Yes. So this is really the gold. This is the good stuff.
Yes, this is the good stuff.
Okay.
This is where they get all the precious and rare metals off at UMICORE.
Every computer has one of these, doesn't it?
But I bet lots of people don't know there is gold on the circuit boards as well.
I know,
so.
even just gold itself is quite fascinating, isn't it?
The circuit boards are taken to UMICORE, the world's leading recycler of precious metals. Here, over 2,000 tons of circuit boards are processed every year, not only from Belgium, but from across the world.
So what are we looking at here?
Well, the precious metals have, in general, some unique properties in terms of conductivity and resistance to corrosion.
Okay.
And you can find here the different slots. You will also see here connectors and connector pins. Typically, they're also gold clad. Yeah, it will be very,
so that is
a very
what you're
thin
after
layer.
right there.
It will be a very thin layer. Besides the gold, we will also have copper that we can recover. We also will have silver, and we will have palladium. If we would not be able to treat this material, it would end up somewhere. And somewhere can be a landfill. Somewhere can also be at an incineration plant.
A key element of UMICORE's work is not only recovering the metals, but doing so without releasing toxins into the environment.
Well, we're here at the smelter. This is the first step of the smelting and refining process.
What are we looking at, Terry? I can actually feel vibrations in the glass.
We are injecting fuel, oxygen and other materials into the molten metal bath. That's underneath there. That's underneath there. It's a big pot.
Yeah.
So we are feeding the material here.
The material being circuit boards?
Circuit boards, mobile phones, car catalysts, industrial catalysts.
When the material is smelted, two fractions are created, one copper-based and one lead-based. These two metals, which are added to the smelter, are known as collector metals, and due to their chemical characteristics, they attract certain elements. The copper attracts the precious metals such as gold and silver, and the lead attracts the other materials.
One thing that I can guarantee you is that when we melt the material here, that all the confidential data will be destroyed. Yeah? Everything will be destroyed.
Oh my gosh.
These are our final products in terms of precious metals. You will find gold, you will find silver, and also palladium in electronic scrap. Of course, the most appealing one is the gold.
Am I allowed to get my hands on it?
Of course, feel free.
Oh man! Oh. Holy smokes! That is incredible. That is amazing.
It's a value of something like 400,000 euros.
Are you joking?
I'm not.
Wow. 400,000 euros.
Yep.
The amazing thing about this system is that because metals such as gold don't lose their properties, urban mining, if perfected, could put an end to electronic waste ending up in landfill.
This could just carry on going round and round and round in the system.
You will have something like 300 grams of gold per metric ton of mobile phones. Whereas if you do mining, you will have an ore with something like 2 or 5 grams of gold per ton.
So it's a fraction.
So what we have
40.
here in the urban mine in the cities is much higher in concentration. So it would really be a shame to lose it. Yeah. Let's reclaim it, let's recover it, let's recycle it.
Our modern consumer culture is increasingly focused on having the latest products, a trend that's resulting in more and more goods being thrown away. And the environmental costs of this, from mining the raw materials in the first place to filling up landfill, is huge. And yet these recycling organisations in Belgium are demonstrating just how viable it is to recycle rather than discard.
If we look back within 100 years and if we look back at this period in time, that we will be able to say it was just a small period in time that people just threw away stuff. Because now we are learning how to reuse them as raw materials. So I think we're on a positive flow.
Everything below the tree line was underwater. If the dams came out, they were the only thing that was wrong and the only thing preventing salmon from coming back.
I mean, they've already seen crab moving back into the area.
But there's no chance of getting a crab sculpture outside here.